She is a river queen, a mermaid.
The scream sliced through the warm afternoon air like a blade. Dozens of students jerked backward from the edge of the village school pond, their feet scraping the rough stones as they stumbled. Some clutched their friends. Some pointed with wide, trembling eyes. There, half submerged in the green water, was Bisi. Her skin shimmered with a silver-blue glow no human should carry. Her blue school pinafore clung to her like a second skin, but it was already dissolving into ripples of light. Strands of her long black hair swirled around her head and shimmered as if the sun itself had slipped beneath the surface. Bisi, Ozioma, her closest friend, called out, but the name came out a whisper, not a shout. Around Bisi's waist, silver scales flickered like living lanterns. From her hips downward, the shape of a powerful tail unfurled, each movement sending tiny waves to the pond's edge. Someone gasped. Someone else dropped a whistle. She's not human, a boy stammered. She's water, another breathed. And Bisi, eyes glowing a deep emerald, turned toward them all, sad, calm, and impossibly beautiful. For a heartbeat, the entire schoolyard seemed to hold its breath. Then the world tilted. Long before that scream, Bisi's life had been a quiet miracle. Her parents, Neka and Oba, had once been the most hopeful couple in Yumudike village. Year after year, they waited for the sound of a baby's cry. Year after year, silence answered them. They tried herbs brewed by wise women, prayers shouted in distant revival tents, gifts laid at ancestral shrines. 10 seasons of yam harvests came and went. No child. One late moon night, Neka slipped away from the sleeping compound and walked to the Umu River. The path glowed faintly in the moonlight, the tall elephant grass bowing as if to clear a way. She carried no lantern, only her breaking heart. "Great Mother of the Waters," she whispered to the dark current, "see me. Give me a child. I will honor you all my days." The river stirred. Mist rose like breath. From the mist stepped a woman unlike any human. Skin like polished pearl, eyes the color of the deep. The scent of fresh rain surrounded her. "You will bear a daughter," the spirit said, voice like rushing water. "But know this, she is of the river. Ordinary water must never touch her. No rain, no pond, no stream. Bathe her only with the water I give you. Should common water reach her skin, she will return to me." Neka fell to her knees, trembling. "I promise." When she told Oba the next morning, he listened with wide eyes and a heart ready to believe anything that might bring a child. Together they vowed to keep the secret. And before the next harvest moon, Bisi arrived. Tiny fingers curling like soft shells, a cry that sounded almost like distant waves. The years that followed were careful choreography. Bathing Bisi meant fetching water only from the sacred calabash sealed in palm fronds and hidden behind their hut. When clouds gathered, Neka and Oba rushed to cover the roof with thick mats so no stray drop could leak inside. Neighbors gossiped. "Why does that child never play in the rain?" some whispered. "Why wrap her in cloth when the day is hot?" But Bisi never sulked. She learned early that she was different, and difference did not frighten her. "Why can't I splash in puddles like Ngozi?" she once asked. "Because the world has its own plans for you," Neka said, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's forehead. "You were born for something rare." Bisi accepted it the way children sometimes do, with curiosity that faded into quiet strength. By the time she entered primary school, her mind blazed like a morning sun. She solved arithmetic before the teacher finished writing the sums. Her stories, neat handwriting, vivid pictures, won every term's prize. Teachers beamed when they spoke of her. "This one will carry the name of Yumudike far," they told her parents. Villagers nodded in pride. But admiration can breed jealousy. 3 classmates, Amanda, Amara, and Chidinma, watched Bisi with eyes that grew sharper each year. Every time she stood first in class, their smiles thinned. "She acts like she's better than us," Amanda muttered after one award ceremony. "She never even sweats," Amara added. "She never joins swimming," Chidinma said, her tone a mix of wonder and suspicion. Ozioma, tall and full of mischief, was Bisi's closest friend. She never minded that Bisi avoided the pond at recess. They shared roasted groundnuts, whispered jokes during boring lessons, and walked home together under the orange glow of sunset. Still, Ozioma sometimes wondered, "Are you afraid of water?" she teased one dry season afternoon when other children were splashing in the village stream. "I just don't like it," Bisi replied, eyes sliding away. "Not even a little rain?" Bisi shook her head. "Not even." Ozioma laughed and let it drop, but a seed of curiosity took root. As the years passed, the 3 jealous girls noticed the same thing Ozioma had. Bisi avoided water like a taboo. One day after school, Amanda leaned toward her friends. "You see how she never touches it? Maybe she thinks she's too good for it. Or she's hiding something," Amara said, her voice low. Chidinma's eyes gleamed. "Wouldn't it be funny to drag Miss Perfect into the pond during sports day?" They giggled, the sound sharp as broken shells. When the headmaster announced a grand inter-school sports festival, complete with a new swimming relay, the entire school buzzed. Children trained every afternoon. Parents planned feasts. Ozioma begged Bisi to join even as a spectator. "You can stand on the edge with me," she said. "No one will force you." Bisi hesitated, then agreed. "Only to watch," she said. Behind them, Amanda overheard and exchanged a look with her friends. The unspoken plan hardened. The sun rose like a brass gong, bright and unforgiving. Music from village drummers echoed across the fields. Children in crisp uniforms carried flags. Bisi wore her neat blue dress and carried a small umbrella, just in case. Her parents wished her well but stayed home, trusting their careful daughter to avoid water as always. At the pond, excitement shimmered like heat. Teachers blew whistles, teams lined up, and villagers crowded the edges. Ozioma clapped along, happy just to share the day. But Amanda's eyes never left Bisi. When the final relay ended, A group of students leapt into the water to cool off. Amanda whispered to Amara and Chidinma, "Now." They drifted casually toward Bisi, smiling too wide. "Come on, Bisi," Amanda said. "Just dip your toes. It's fun." "I'm fine," Bisi replied, stepping back. "Don't be boring," Amara teased. "I said I'm fine," Bisi repeated firmer. Then, too quick for Ozioma to stop, 3 sets of hands grabbed her arms. "Wait! Stop!" she cried, twisting, but they dragged her across the stones. "Let her go!" Ozioma shouted, shoving at them, but they were already at the water's edge. Bisi's heart pounded. She could smell the sharp, earthy scent of the pond. "Please, you don't understand," she begged. The girls only laughed and gave one final push. The world turned to cold green. Cold seized Bisi's skin like 1,000 needles. The pond swallowed every sound except the roar of water in her ears. For a heartbeat she kicked wildly, instinct screaming to surface. But a different pull, deep, powerful, wrapped around her like an invisible current. Light burst across her vision. Her legs tingled, then melted away. Where feet had been, a tail of silver blue unfurled, strong and smooth, scattering tiny bubbles that glittered like stars. Above, she heard distant screams. The girls who pushed her scrambled backward, faces pale. Bisi lifted her head. Drops clung to her lashes but would not fall. The water itself seemed to hold them. Her eyes glowed with a soft green fire. The students froze. "She is a river queen, a mermaid," someone whispered again, voice trembling. Ozioma bolted before the echo faded. Bare feet slapped the dusty path as she sprinted toward Neka's farm. "Mama Neka," she gasped when she reached the rows of cassava. "Come now." "Bisi, she water." The host slipped from Neka's hands. Without a word she ran, wrapper flapping, heart pounding like a talking drum. The crowd parted when Neka reached the water. There was her daughter, half human, half mystery, floating like moonlight made flesh. "Oh, my child," Neka whispered, tears already spilling. Bisi swam close, her shimmering tail stirring ripples of silver. "Mama," she said softly, the sound carrying across the quiet pond. "I love you. I must go now, but I will find a way back." She pressed a cool, glowing hand to her mother's cheek. Then she sank beneath the surface, the water closing like a curtain. Silence fell. Only the wind moved, lifting the scent of river lilies into the sky. For 3 days Neka sat by the pond, refusing food or rest. Neighbors brought yam pottage, roasted plantain, even her favorite palm wine soup. She touched nothing. Oba tried gentle words, then firm ones, but sorrow rooted her to the bank. At night she whispered to the dark water, "Bisi, come back to me, my child. Come back." Amanda, Amara, and Chidinma came trembling, faces streaked with guilt. "We only wanted to tease her," Amanda confessed. "We didn't know." Neka said nothing, her eyes fixed on the quiet pond. Far below the surface, Bisi drifted through a world of light. Water shaped itself into arches of living coral. Schools of fish swirled like scattered jewels, emerald, ruby, sapphire. Strange flowers pulsed with blue fire. A gentle current carried her to a vast hall carved from crystal shells. At the far end sat the River Queen, crown of pearls glowing like moons. Her eyes were the color of the ocean floor, ancient, endless. "You have returned, daughter," the Queen said, voice like a tide. "I beg you," Bisi answered, bowing low. "Let me go back to my family. My heart belongs to them." Few mortals spoke so boldly before the Queen. The Queen studied her. "Love of land is not enough. Prove your strength, and you may walk both worlds." With a wave of her hand, the hall dissolved. Bisi found herself in a dark cavern where no light reached. Currents twisted like storms. Shadows moved with silent hunger. Fear scraped her bones. But she remembered her mother's face and swam forward. The current fought her. Sharp rocks sliced her tail. Still she pushed, singing softly the lullaby Neka once sang on sleepless nights. The darkness thinned. Next came a whirlpool of roaring waves. "Let go," a voice tempted. "Become only water." "I am more," Bisi shouted into the spray. "I am love." The whirlpool stilled. Finally, she entered a meadow of light where countless river spirits gathered. Each asked a question of truth. Would you trade freedom for family? Would you give your own gift to heal a stranger? To each she answered from the heart, without fear, without falsehood. The spirits faded. The River Queen appeared once more, eyes soft with something like pride. "You have shown courage, loyalty, and love," she said. "Return to the earth, child of two worlds. But remember, you are forever part water. Walk the land without fear. The river will always know your name." She touched Bisi's forehead. Light flared, warm and bright. Evening settled over Umiadike when the river began to glow. Villagers gathering firewood stopped and stared. A tall figure stepped from the water, skin dry, eyes human, hair trailing droplets of silver light. "Bisi!" Neka cried, dropping her basket. "Mama," Bisi said, running into her arms. "I am home." The crowd erupted in joy. Oba lifted his daughter high, tears carving bright lines down his cheeks. Even the jealous girls came forward, faces wet with apology. "We are sorry," Amanda whispered. "Please forgive us." Bisi took their hands. "I forgive you. Let the river teach us all." The days that followed felt like a second sunrise. Bisi returned to school, sharper and kinder than ever. Rain no longer frightened her. She danced in it, laughing as drops slid like pearls across her skin. Villagers greeted her with new respect, sensing the quiet power she carried. Sometimes, late at night, she walked to the river's edge. The water glowed faintly, as if whispering welcome. She smiled, knowing she belonged to both worlds. True strength is not in hiding who we are, but in embracing every part of ourselves. Love, deep, patient, and brave, can cross even the widest river. If this tale stirred your heart, share it with someone who needs a reminder that courage and love are stronger than fear. Subscribe for more African folk tales that carry timeless lessons for every generation.